Out here. On our tour, I'll show you where and how we make these productions, and I'll also play you some clips. The first clip I want to show you comes from a classic Broadway, but it's currently home to NBC's hit singing competition show, The Voice. Here to tell you a little bit more about it is the host of The Voice, Carson Daly.
Hi everybody, I'm Carson Daly from NBC's The Voice. I want to welcome you to the Universal Front Lot. Our show is filmed on stage 12. It happens to be the largest soundstage on the Universal lot. Take a look.
Every season of The Voice has used Soundstage 12, but it also dates back to some of our classic monster movies, like Frankenstein and Dracula from 1931. Stage 12 has also housed iconic sets like the Visitor Center from Jurassic Park, and downtown Whoville for Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, a soundstage is basically a large warehouse with walls that are 3 to 4 times thicker than normal walls to make these stages 98% soundproof. They also have total control over the light. Colony, which airs on USA, starring Josh Holloway, who you might remember from Lost. Further down on the left are 22 and 23. Those house a comedy on NBC called Superstore, starring America Ferrera. You might remember her as from Ugly Betty or Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. On the inside of 22 and 23 is a full box store, like a Target or a Walmart. For the show, it's called The Cloud. Left, you'll see stage 27. That's used for the Mindy Project, starring Mindy Kaling. That show does stream on Hulu. Right now, stage 27 has also been used for films like Jurassic Park, Apollo 13, and there's a large concrete pit on the inside of that stage that we used to test out the mechanical shark from Jaws. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Typically, nowadays we do use these sound stages for television shows, and here at NBC Universal, we do have a rich television history. We've been broadcasting TV since 1939, and we do have Monica Potter. The Good Place with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell, also filmed inside stage 44. Right now it's being used for Angie Tribeca, starring Rashida Jones. Stage 44 has also been used for Hollywood Game Night and some of the scenes from Furious 7. Hang a look to the left, though, you'll see Ted cheersing you with his martini. Ted is right in front of our production bungalows. These buildings to the left serve as offices for companies like Bluegrass Films that brought us Ted and Ted 2. Illumination Entertainment is out here, and they brought us Hop, Despicable Me, The Secret Life of Pets, and the brand new Sing. Director Robert Zemeckis, who brought us Back to the Future and Forrest Gump, also has his office out here among our bungalows. So keep an eye on the parking spot signs in this area. You guys may recognize some of them that matches the one on your screens. Sir Alfred Hitchcock used Bungalow 5195 as his office when he worked on Alfred Hitchcock Presents here. He's also, the first location I want to show you is called Brownstone Street. Take a look to the right. Got those steps across the way, and I want to see if you can find them in this clip.
Place the dog! I'm in the shower! Inside bad, outside good. Inside bad, outside good.
Stop it. Oh, you're done now. Beautiful.
There you go. Brownstone Street was featured in Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey. Other productions like The Sting, Gone Girl, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York City to Courthouse Square. But you guys may better know this area as Hill Valley from Back to the Future. Now, Courthouse Square does not look exactly the same as it did in Back to the Future. We had to change the look of these sets to make them not as recognizable as Hill Valley. So over to the left, you'll see City Hall instead of the clock tower with those 4 columns out front. It's the very same building, we just had to change the design of it to make it look like the City Hall for the town of Grandview for the TV show Ghost Whisperer starring Jennifer Love Hewitt. But if you look at the buildings to the left-hand side of that City Hall, you'll see some set pieces that say Baltimore. This area was turned into 1960s Baltimore for Hairspray Live. It's also been the small town of Berkeley for Parenthood and turn of the century Australia for Disney's Saving Mr. Banks. But we're going to leave the small town behind and find ourselves in the middle of a big city just by turning a corner out here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our big New York street, which has been featured in so many big blockbusters like Transformers with Shia LaBeouf, Captain America, the First Avenger, The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, TV shows like Chuck, Criminal Minds, Castle, CSI, The Mindy Project, and How I Met Your Mother have filmed out here. Even American Ninja Warrior came and set up their obstacle course right where the tram is now, so we can use it for all kinds of different productions. But if you take a look at those screens, Jimmy Fallon is going to show you just how we use these spaces out here.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City.
Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Now, as we're looking around at our Metro sets, I want you to keep something in mind. Everything in Hollywood is fake. So, what looks like brick and stone out here is foam rubber, fiberglass, plaster, plastic. Those materials are way less expensive than real brick and stone and allow us to easily change the look and design of these buildings, to change it from one city to another, one time period to another. These are very, very functional spaces for us. Right now they're a little barren. We can bring things like street lights out, post office boxes, benches, trash cans to really liven up these spaces, make it look like a very real city. Now, these Metro sets were actually used as Chicago in The Blues Brothers, directed by John Landis. Take a look at your screen.
When the Pinto fell and you saw it land and make this big hole in the street, that was on the back lot. We dropped it from a crane. You dig like that in Chicago,
All right, that's why we have a back lot, so we can do things like crash cars, explode stuff, all kinds of cool things can happen out here on the studio property. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. For now, I do want to stop to talk to one of my favorite directors, Mr. Peter Jackson, who brought us the 2005 version of King Kong.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in adventure.
Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. What kind of place is this? So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Star Island. It was great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have
created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island. The Universal Tram is winding its way through a very rough, narrow trail in Skull Island, allowing...
Take a good look at that Magnum PI Ferrari and know that it is a VW engine with a fiberglass Ferrari shell on the outside of it. A lot of times when you work with a picture car, you'll race it, flip it over, blow it up, and for the sake of the budget, a lot of times they'll sort of adjust their picture cars. Not necessarily real. So we do have some golf carts with fiberglass shells on the outside of it as well. But I do want to make sure you guys see my favorite car out here. It's from Jurassic World. It's the gyrosphere at the end on the left-hand side. Now, if you guys have seen Jurassic World, that car will look very familiar to you, but there's something missing from it. The glass on the outside, exactly. They filmed with the gyrosphere as it looks there. The glass was added on the computer in post-production. It's CGI computer-generated imagery. They chose to do that for the gyrosphere because glass is so reflective that if it was on the outside of the car, you would have seen the camera and crew reflected on its surface. So sometimes they'll also use the computer to adjust their vehicles. But you know what, that's enough about Jurassic World. Let's talk now about Jurassic Park. Oh, just kidding. Here we go, Jurassic Park.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Up ahead, we do have some picture cars, set pieces, and props that were used in the Jurassic Park movies. Now, one of our picture cars out here is called the Mobile Lab Unit, which was used in the Lost World Jurassic Park. They used the Mobile Lab Unit in a scene where a dinosaur pushed the vehicle off of a cliffside. Now, that was all set on an island off the coast of Costa Rica, but actually filmed here on our front lot. We took a parking structure right outside of Soundstage 27, and our greens department dressed it up with dirt, vines, and foam and made it look like Costa Rica. So you can actually film anywhere here on the front lot, the back lot, even City Walk. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of that movie magic and creativity. Now, I'm going to show you that scene in a moment, but I do want to make sure everybody gets a good look at the Mobile Lab Unit, which is actually up here to the left-hand side. As we pass by, take a good look at it. You can actually see that it is in fact made out of plywood. Plywood makes it less expensive and easier to move around on set, which was important because we used a crane to dangle it off the side of the parking structure for this scene. Now I'm going to show that scene to you in just a second on your screens, but I do want to make sure everybody aboard gets a nice good look at that Mobile Lab Unit. I should probably mention that a couple of our dinosaurs escaped from cages. If you take a look at those screens, here's the Mobile Lab Unit scene. Here you go. So you guys, that vehicle is the plywood one that we just passed by. And there's our parking structure clip. And I want you guys to notice the weather in this scene. It is raining, which is fairly atypical for us here in LA. If a production needs to film with some rain, they cannot just wait for it to happen naturally. Sometimes we got to get creative, and I'll show you how we do that in a moment. But first, here's Al Roker from the Today Show to tell us what we might expect today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Old Mexico. We got some rain out here for you. This is how it's done in Hollywood. We shoot water up in the air through a sprinkler system and just let gravity handle the rest. But if you try to get some photos or video of the rain, you may notice it can have a hard time showing up on camera. So some productions used to add powder film to the water to make it more opaque. Nowadays, we just make those droplets 10 times larger than natural rain, so to collect more of the lighting on its way back down to earth. But it's such a nice day. I don't think we need any more rain than necessary, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Hold on, the button is sticking, I'll get it. Of water in tanks at the top of the hill, ready to be released whenever we want. Don't worry though, that water is recycled back to those tanks in under 1 minute, so it's ready to be used again for take 2. That flash flood effect was featured in Big Fat Liar with Paul Giamatti and Amanda Bynes. Let's take a moment to check out some of our favorite Universal Western stars. Universal Studios went from making a lot of westerns to actually inventing the monster movie genre with features like actually built to serve as Germany for All Quiet on the Western Front, which was our very first Academy Award winner for Best Picture. But right now, this is the set for the TV show The Good Place with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to The Good Place. Take a look at some of the set pieces in this area. There's a lot of really cute shops out here. Keep an eye out for frozen yogurt. Apparently, it's kind of a big deal in the afterlife, so we have about 9 frozen yogurt shops just in this area alone. But this is also the fictional land of Genovia for The Princess Diaries 2, a royal engagement with Miss Anne Hathaway. This is France in the Muppets movie, Port Royal for Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. This is also used as Vatican City in Angels and Demons, even Iraq in Jarhead. We can change the look of this area up just by changing the set pieces and dressings. Change the language on a sign, put up a national flag, and you've instantly found yourself in whatever country you want. That's the beauty of our backlot. Now we're actually coming up to a significant area in our monster movie history. It's called the Court of Miracles. You'll find it over here to the right-hand side. There's an archway through here that the Hunchback of Notre Dame made his very first film debut in the Festival of Fools. Very, very cool area out here. But up to the left-hand side, you'll see a TV show set. The show is called Home and Family, and it films out here Monday through Friday, and it airs on the Hallmark Channel, and the show stars Mark Steinitz and Debbie Matenopoulos. Home and Family is sort of a home improvement talk show, and what's really cool about this set is you can film on the inside and the outside of this little gray house. Now that makes this set a practical set, as opposed to what we have in Little Europe over here. A lot of Little Europe are shells and facades, meaning we can only use these sets for exterior scenes. If you were to go into some of those shops that we saw, there's not an actual space to build a scene and film on the inside. Any interiors for Little Europe have to be built on the inside of a soundstage. Now we are actually going to check out a soundstage in just a moment, but I do want to play you a clip. I love this. From those classic monster movies. What's a monster movie without those torch-wielding villagers?
Lock the women indoors and wait for me. I'm ready! Your torches and go!
What's really cool is this is designed like a subway station. So this is actually what we call a hot set, meaning it's fully dressed and ready to go. We're essentially just waiting on the director to call action. So we're going to drive through basically on the tracks of a loading station, and it's designed to look like San Francisco right now. As we move into this space, take a look over to the left-hand side. You'll see our exit is Embarcadero Plaza. You'll also notice a map of the transit system, and on the map it says Golden Gate Park. That tells us we're in San Francisco. But if we change those signs, this set could immediately become a subway station in New York City, the London Underground, Paris Metro. That's the beauty of set decorations. They literally tell the audience where you are. But we need all these other details in here as well. We need benches, turnstiles, trash cans. It's all the small details that really turn a soundstage into a believable, real-life environment for you guys, the audience. Is everybody all right? All right, is this a little tremor it happens up? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this feels like a little more than a little tremor. Please hold on, remain seated. I think we're experiencing an earthquake. by a man-eating shark. I don't want you guys to panic, it's okay. We fished that shark out of the water. You can find him to the right-hand side. And as an added safety precaution, we've got a police diver out there in the water just to make sure it's all good. So sit back, relax, take in the beautiful views here at Amity Island.
Out of the water. Now.
Okay, I'm really sorry you guys had to see that. I think we caught the wrong shark, which means there's still a man-eating shark on the loose. Nobody panic, we will keep you safe, but looks like we're gonna hide out for a moment behind these gasoline tanks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to our giant mechanical shark from Jaws. His name is Bruce, and he's actually named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. Used on About a Boy with David Walton and Minnie Driver. LMFAO also came out to our chicken ranch to film their music video, Sorry for Party Rocking. Now the chicken ranch is a practical set so they can film on the inside and outside of the home. But right next door, you'll see a little yellow structure. That's a facade. We just built the front and side of the neighbor's house to give the chicken ranch the illusion of being in a neighborhood. But in Hollywood, we only care about what the camera sees, so if you never enter the neighbor's house, you don't need to build the whole thing. Sometimes just the front and side will do. But we're gonna head down a full neighborhood out here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Colonial Street, but you guys may better know this as Wisteria Lane, home to ABC's Desperate Housewives. I'm going to point out the ladies' houses for you. To the left, the beige and white house was home to Gabrielle Solis, played by Eva Longoria. Bob and Lee lived in the lilac house next door. Next door to them is the little yellow house home to Terry Hatcher's character. That's where Susan Meyer lived. On the right-hand side, the blue house was home to the perfect housewife, Bree Vandekamp, played by Marcia Cross. And to the left, the gray house was home to Lynette Scavo, played by Emmy Award winner Felicity Huffman. Now that's actually where Wisteria Lane ended for season 1. But as the show continued, we decided to expand Colonial and we added in this whole cul-de-sac. And over to the right-hand side, you'll see that little peach house. That was home to the infamous Edie Britt, played by Nicolette Sheridan. Now this street has been used for so many other productions besides just Desperate Housewives. In fact, we can film almost any kind of project out here because this street is designed to look like any sort of residential neighborhood you could stumble across anywhere in America. So we can use this for basically everything. If you've ever seen The Burbs with Tom Hanks, this is the neighborhood out here. To the right, the gray house was used in Bedtime for Bonzo with Ronald Reagan. The brown house to the left is used in almost every Ace Hardware commercial. The Hardy Boys lived in the little yellow house on the right-hand side. My favorite house out here is the lilac one. That was 1313 Mockingbird Lane, home to the Munsters. We got the beige and white house to the right-hand side that was used in Harvey with Jimmy Stewart. The blue house on the right-hand side was featured as a sorority house in Animal House. On the way out of Colonial Street, to the left, the light green house is the Nancy Drew Mysteries house, followed by the dark green house, which was where Matlock lived. Now we can film so much out here. In fact, if you saw Why Him with Bryan Cranston and James Franco that came out around the holidays, that also filmed right up there. Sorry you guys, completely lost my train of thought. That car to the left-hand side is not supposed to be there. You know what? I feel like I gotta call this one into security. Just give me 1 second. Hold on.
This is security. What's going on, Studio Tour?
Hey, I just took my group through Colonial Street and there's a black 1970s Charger parked illegally out here. Can you send somebody to check on that for us?
Okay, Tour. I'll send someone down to check it out ASAP.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. I apologize for the oh, hold on. He's calling me back already. Hello?
Studio Tour. Looks like we might have an issue. I'm patching you into Agent Novak from the FBI.
Wait, the FBI?
Sorry to interrupt your fun, but we've got video surveillance on that Charger you all saw. We ran it through the system, and the driver has been positively identified as Dominic Toretto. I've been tracking this guy for a while. He's a hardened criminal. He's likely armed, and he is definitely dangerous. My men and I are on our way to apprehend him right now. If you see him, don't be a hero. Don't engage him. Just keep a safe distance and report any further sightings to studio security immediately. We'll handle it from there.
All right, you got it, Agent. Everybody keep those eyes peeled for anything suspicious. I doubt we're going to find anything in our next location. Welcome, guys, to Whoville. You're looking at Martha May Houvier's house in Cindy Lou Who's from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, directed by Ron Howard. To get these Seussical shapes for these sets, they were carved from large blocks of styrofoam. The snow out here in Whoville is crushed styrofoam. They used enough of it to cover 9 American football fields. Those vehicles, just golf carts with a fanciful Whoville fiberglass shell on the outside of it. Next, we're going to check out the neighbors to the Who's.